Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday morning. Tea with Atlas this week. I lost track of time and I totally missed that it was Tuesday yesterday. So Atlas and I are here. Got my tea. And this morning I thought I would talk a little bit about imperfection. I think that with horses, we have a real drive to get everything right for them. And of course, we love them. They're our family, they're our herd mates, they're our friends. But I think that imperfection is a really important part of the puzzle. And this has been particularly challenging with Atlas, who's behind me. When I itch my nose at the wrong time, he gets so afraid that he never wants to be near me again. And I feel like itching my nose at the wrong time was a level of imperfection in my choices that Atlas couldn't handle. And this has been a really hard thing, training Atlas, because I feel like every time I walk out the door, every time I show up to spend time with him, I have to be so perfect. I love how close he is today. I have to be so perfect that I don't scare him, or that I don't trigger aggression, or that I don't send him into a frozen state. This has been really, really challenging with Atlas. And I want to give us all some credit for the fact that this is an important part of the process. And even if it feels like, oh, I got that wrong, I blew it, I totally did the wrong thing at the wrong time, and my horse is scared now, or my horse is angry now, or my horse doesn't want to talk to me, my horse is frozen and uncommunicative. Any of these moments that happen, I think that we need to start realizing they're an important part of the process. In order for Atlas to become a really functional horse, a really good partner, a horse that can live in society, hopefully live in a herd of horses, he has to learn how to accept everyone else's imperfections. That means we're not going to do everything at the right time. I'm not going to think all the right thoughts. I'm not going to be 100% present. I'm going to get distracted. I'm going to do things at the wrong time. And part of this training process is that Atlas has to learn how to adapt, how to work with that. And it's something that I think we don't talk about enough in horse training. And that is the fact that it's important to get it wrong sometimes. A lot of you guys have seen the trailer for Taming Wild Pura Vida that just got released. And, that's a little preview to the movie that's coming out really soon. The project was one where we took 2 rescue horses and we walked across the country of Costa Rica with them. And the idea is that if we spend every day walking with the horses, we have the movement, which lowers stress, but we also show up really reliably for 6, 8, 10 hours a day. And we share space. That means, sorry, I've got a bug in front of my face. So when we share space, it's not only the good moments, it's the bad moments too. So, if I'm with a horse for 8 hours a day, I'm not going to be on my game for all 8 hours. I am going to have some really bad moments where I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time and I'm doing the wrong thing. And it's only through the experience of that the horses learn that it's okay. That sometimes your partner is not going to be right on. And it's okay to fill in for each other. It's okay to look out for each other. It's okay to be strong when your partner's weak. It's okay to make allowances for your partner just getting it wrong. And I think that in the movie, that's one of the biggest things I learned filming Pura Vida, is that it's okay to show up and get it wrong. It's okay to show up and not feel present, to not feel zen, to not feel connected, to feel like I'm going to do everything wrong, but to just show up anyway. and say, how do I make the best of this moment where I am making mistakes, where I am not the quality of partner that I know I should be, or that I know I want to be. I think this is an important part of the process, showing up and getting it wrong and saying, how do I make the best of this moment? What's possible in this moment, even though I'm not on top of my game? So in Pura Vida, it was a lot easier than what I've got going here with Atlas, because in Pura Vida we had movement. We were trekking huge amounts of mileage every day, up mountains, down mountains, through rivers, and the movement really lowered stress for everyone. So when I had a bad day, the description of a bad day is there's a little too much fight, or a little too much flight, or a little too much freeze. Freeze would be non-communication. Fight would be too much communication where everyone else is wrong but you. And flight is where you just want to get away from each other. So on a bad day, those things that happen, okay? There's too much fight, there's too much flight, there's too much freeze. And that happens in me as well as the horses. So I think it's really important that we embrace the humanity of that. We embrace the reality of that. We learn to work with it. This is what being alive is about. Sometimes I'm going to have a bad day or a bad moment, and my horse is going to have to fill in for me. And I found that it's a lot more challenging here with Atlas, where I don't have so much movement, because the movement really lowered the stress of those emotional states. So with Apollo, when I was trekking across Costa Rica with Andrea and Zeus, we had movement to fill in for our emotional moments. We just kept walking. We had miles to go. And that really smoothed the process out. It made it feel like not the end of the world when someone had a bad moment. And that was really useful. It has been something that I've used a little bit more with Atlas. When I realized that he was not thriving, he was really struggling with this training process of being close to people when people had abused him so much, we started incorporating more movement into our training, because the movement helped him process through the fact that not everyone's perfect all the time. Just because I itch my nose at the wrong time doesn't mean I'm going to beat him. Just because I trip or I stumble because I'm not aware doesn't mean that he's going to get hurt. It's really important that I don't try and be too careful. Just show up, be me, and let Atlas be him. And I think that it would be useful for all of us. Good job, Atlas. All of us to acknowledge a little bit more that this is what it is to be human, is to have good days and to have bad days. And to not try and deny that it is the case. I'm a professional horse trainer. I'm supposed to get it right all the time. But what I'm saying is that getting it wrong some of the time is part of getting it right. If I can embrace the fact that I'm going to come out and I'm going to mess it up, I'm going to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and my horse is going to get scared, or they're going to get angry, or they're going to freeze up a little bit. That's interesting. That's part of the process, and it's really important that my horse here, Atlas, or whoever I'm working with, adapt to that we are flawed beings, and it's not about being perfect all the time. It's about embracing the imperfections and realizing that on the whole, perfection has many imperfections within it. If it doesn't, I'm not sure it's perfection. I love the idea of wabi-sabi, that Japanese theory where a bowl, once it's been cracked, is more beautiful, and you fill the crack with gold and emphasize the fact that it has been cracked. That is got to be part of our horse training too. That has got to be part of this, that we mess up, we make mistakes. There is maybe a little more fight, flight, or freeze than we wanted. There is maybe a little less idealism than we hoped for on a day. And that's part of the beauty. The fact is, our horses get to learn to fill in for us. Our horses get to learn to show up and support us when we're not at our best. And then hopefully we support them when they're not at their best. Of course, we're going to aim for perfection. That is the nature of being alive. We want to get it right all the time. I'm just going to encourage you, accept that getting it wrong is a vital part of getting it right. In the whole picture, if you never got anything wrong, your horse misses out on a huge piece of their training. They have to learn how to fill in for us when we are not on top of our game. So when you have a horse like Atlas who's particularly traumatized, it starts feeling particularly vital to get things right all the time. And that's been something I've really struggled with over the last year with Atlas here, is I feel like I just want to get everything right for him. I don't want him to feel any fear or any flight or any freeze anymore. I just want it to be done, fixed, better. And it's been a real personal growth for me to realize that, yeah, getting things wrong is super important for our learning process together. So there are some days, I agree with you, George, where I feel like, man, I am mastering getting it wrong today. You laugh and you say, what can I do with this? What's my best option for handling this? And you just take it a moment at a time. I got that wrong. How do I do better? Not that getting it wrong was awful. Getting it wrong is super important. And I think if we start to see this, we go, oh, I really messed that up. That was a great opportunity for my horse to realize the world didn't end. The world didn't end because Elsa had a bad day. You take a deep breath and you go, oh, that's interesting. I have heard some trainers say, if you're having a really bad day, you shouldn't even go out there to be with the horses, that you should not burden them with your emotional state. And you'll see in the movie, in Taming Wild Pura Vida, when we release it, there are moments when I lose it. And those are some of the best connecting moments I had in the whole trip with Apollo. When I really just wasn't able to be there for him, he stepped up and he was able to be there for me. And I think we need to make room for that. Now, Atlas isn't really at that stage yet. He's not really able to be there for me when I'm not there for him. So if I have a bad day, it's important with Atlas that I work at a little bit more of a distance. I go, okay, I'm not very present today. My mind's all over the place. I'm not making great decisions. I'm going to give him a little more space between him and me so that he can learn how to handle the imperfect Elsa in a way that's tolerable for him. So we just need to keep in mind, what are all our options? And in what realm is it okay to make mistakes? And Atlas is teaching me a whole new angle on that. So I can't wait to get the movie out. We have another trailer that we're going to release this week, a longer trailer for the movie. It's really exciting. It's just in its finishing stages right now. So that will be out on Friday and Saturday. Friday for all of my subscribers on Patreon, and then Saturday for all the general public. And we're working away on the main movie. There's an amazing amount of small hiccups that happen in the process. Again, in the process of movie making, I am trying to remember that the mistakes, the flaws, the things that don't go right, they're part of the process. They make for good stories later. We've got to admit that you cracked the bowl. You fill that crack with gold and it becomes part of the beauty. So I'm going to leave you guys on that thought here. Atlas and I are going to sit here and enjoy our tea, and he's going to eat his hay, and think about that today. You don't have to be perfect all the time. It's actually really important that you're not perfect all the time. Just go out there, be you, enjoy your time with your horses, and realize that imperfection is part of the bigger whole that makes life perfect. So those are my thoughts for today. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week on Tuesday. I won't forget next week. All right, bye-bye.